So I'm here representing the Sierra Club, and what I'm going to talk to you today about is organic waste, and food waste in particular. And I'm going to talk about why this is an environmental issue, and one option that city dwellers have, like yourselves, to reduce their personal impact in this area: composting with worm bins. And so what I have here is a bin full of worms, and I'm going to get back to that in just a minute. And so I'll just begin with some facts and figures to give you an idea of the magnitude of the problem. According to the EPA, every year Americans produce over 250 million tons of municipal solid waste. Of that translates to about 4.5 pounds per person per day. Now, of that total, 30% of it is organics. If you include paper, which comes from trees, that total goes to well over 50%. Food waste itself represents 15% of municipal solid waste. That translates into 36 million tons per year. Now, since almost no food waste is recovered for recycling or other beneficial reuse, that means that it translates into the single largest component of what is actually taken to landfills. Over 20% of what gets landfilled is food waste. In California, 25% of residential waste is food. So, both as a nation and in California in particular, we waste an astounding amount of food, and we send it to landfills. Now, what is the major reason that sending it to a landfill is an environmental issue? The answer is emissions. When you entomb organic matter in a landfill, it's deprived of oxygen and it begins to break down anaerobically. When it breaks down anaerobically, it produces methane. And methane is an extremely potent greenhouse gas that's particularly powerful in the near term. Depending on the estimate, over a 20-year time horizon, the global warming impact of methane is between 70 and 100 times as that of carbon dioxide, which is quite significant. Now, food waste is particularly important with respect to organics because it's high in moisture and it's high in degradable organic carbon, which means it breaks down very quickly and it produces methane very quickly. And that's also relevant because in modern landfills there are gas capture systems, but they capture some of the methane that is produced. However, these are typically phased in over several years on an active landfill operating cell, which means that within the first few years, before these landfill gas capture systems are operating, most of the food has already broken down and released this methane into the atmosphere. Now, these methane capture systems do actually significantly offset the impact of methane. However, they do not eliminate it. And the gas that's captured is either flared, which means it's burned away, or it's used to generate energy. But this is actually, and so people think this offsets it, but it doesn't. It's a very minor effect. And in fact, certain landfill practices, such as making the landfill wetter, can actually be counterproductive because even though they result in more energy being generated, that is more than offset by the increased methane leak.